So, what'd you guys think of Sound of Freedom?
Tough subject matter for sure.
It very tough subject matter. So I just finished watching it about I don't know, an hour ago or whatever, half an hour ago, anywhere before the show started. Like I said, um, very tough to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Very emotional movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think the movie can get preachy at times, but here's the thing, though: it definitely leaves an impression on you.
It's a good
And
message.
it's a very good message, and it's something that I feel needs to be told
Right.
because this really does happen.
Right.
Even as you see, like in the end of the movie, they show a clip of like the whole raid and everything else that happened.
Even
So,
even the fact that like the title screen
yes,
when they're going through the opening credits and they were showing kids being taken
Yeah.
and whatnot, it was okay. So I liked the movie, but towards the latter part and end of it, it felt very unimpactful as I thought it should have been. It like I liked it, watched it. I was like, okay, I'm a sleep on it and then see how I feel in the morning.
yeah,
With the way it started, it was like directly in your face. Hey, this is real. This is happening and whatnot. And towards when it gets to, I want to say, the movie part of the movie, and then it felt like that dramaticness and that like instant impact wore off, and it was like it didn't feel as strong as it did in the beginning.
I think the climax happened when they were on that island and they finally got all those. They took those guys down the ring, that pedophile ring, whatever they were, the ones who kidnapped all those kids and the kids. I loved I think it would have
I
been
felt like for me the climax was when they got the boy back. I felt
Yeah,
like that was the climax.
I could see where you're coming with that because it feel like two separate movies.
Yeah,
It kind of like almost felt like when they got the boy back, the first movie ended, then the second movie was going to get the
like
girl in the jungle because it
the
was like
movie.
almost a completely different feel to
Yeah,
the movie. It felt more like an action movie at that point.
I mean, I think I love it would have been perfect if they ended. I understand they had to get the girl because I really would have it wouldn't have felt right if they didn't get her. It would have
right.
felt
Well, yeah,
great.
that made you feel like shit because the fact
Yeah,
that he didn't get
yeah.
the girl.
And I love when there was a Vampiro, whatever his name was. I forgot his name, but anyway, I love when he's like goes over there and tells them, Jim Caviezel's character. It's like you hear that the kids are all clapping. Oh, that's the sound of freedom. And I thought that was a perfect way of being like, okay, that completes the whole movie. That was kind of like boom, that's it.
Yeah,
That would have been right there. And the ending would have been beautiful in a sense, because
yeah,
Yeah,
I felt really like okay, that makes perfect sense right there, the title and everything else, uh, I think like the next half an hour, but in the same time, I feel like you needed that because if you did not have that part, people would have been, well, what about the girl, what
yeah,
about the sister? Come on, people would have like really been enraged because of that because you're so emotionally invested already in those characters. I don't see how anybody could not be satisfied if that you didn't get that,
well,
you know,
yeah, and that and the fact that the reunion with her family as well. You get that at the end. Like if it ended and he just got her and it ended, I would have been like, so we're not gonna have that interaction with the parents, with the dad, and we're not gonna have the interaction with the brother. We're just not gonna have that.
yeah.
I'm glad we got it, but that second half of the movie of trying to get her, it felt completely different, and it didn't resonate with me as much as the first part did. Where like he was doing like true investigation work,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, I'm gonna use this guy that I caught to try to get this, try to see what other information I can have. No, it turns out like, hey, let's go set up an island somewhere and have this be like a big, like an Epstein Island kind of a thing, and all like it just seems way way
Well,
out there.
I know you say that, but I think it's actually based off like a true story. Like I actually think they did that.
It is true, and I believe it. It just seems way out of left field. You go from like what it felt to me like a grounded situation to then that, and you're like,
Obviously, it's
okay,
Hollywood, so they're embellishing a little bit, but
Right, exactly. Uh, I do think though, like I said, the one thing about the filmmaker and everything else, like the way they did the movie, it is kind of like almost preaching to saying like this is happening, this is what's going on in this world.
sometimes you need that though, Pete.
That's the thing though. Like I feel like, in a sense, the way they made the film, it is kind of almost like it's kind of one of those like back in the day, you used to have like those made for TV movies, like where like like they trying to send a message and say like the dangers of certain things that what
Yeah,
happens, like, like for it, don't do drugs, kind of like a movie or
yeah,
something
like
like that.
the after school specials.
School specials, yeah, that's what it feels like in some ways. I like the film. Don't get me wrong, it's a good movie because it has a lot of great, m- great monologues, great dialogue. Like I said, I like when Jim Caviezel sits down, like he asks, I forget what Vampire his name is. I don't know what he was, but the guy was smoking a cigar. The guy was like helping him
yeah,
out, and he asked him like, "Why are you doing this?" And he told that story about like he was like this big drug dealer kind of guy making all this money. He told the story what happened in the incident, and it was such. I thought he did a great job, that actor, because he actually made me believe in his what he was trying to do and all that. So, but like I said though, I feel like it's you. This movie, I'm glad it was made because you needed to send this message.
oh, 1000%.
If this what's going on in this world, if that's what's happening, regardless if it's embellished, I don't even care if it's one victim. I need this story being told because people need to be aware that this stuff is going on in this world.
Yeah,
And even if it's not even like happening with the kids in this country, if it's happening in another country, that needs
Right.
to be stopped. So I'm glad that this movie's out there and sending this message because it needs to be sent. So and like I said, it's funny though because like I said, it feels like, well, they're like it feels like, oh, that's all they're saying, right? They're sending this message across, right? But the reason why I get emotional about it because I'm like, dude, this is really what's happening. I
Yeah.
believe it. I truly believe this is what's happening, and it's crazy to me that we as a society don't focus more on this and try to have this stop, especially if you have a lot of sex trades coming into this country. That needs to stop, because to me, that's the lowest of the low for any human being to be like that. To take kids and use them that way. That's the lowest of the low. I mean,
yeah.
1000%.
I can't think of anybody lower than that. You know what I'm saying? It's disgusting to me, to be honest, to think about it. It's and like I said, I granted, I mean, I know there's controversy and everything else, and the Epstein thing and all that. But dude, I'm sorry, if it's true, if it's factual, please let's get the people responsible and put them in jail. Like,
Oh,
I
absolutely.
dude, this is not something that should be happening in society at all, especially if there's people who are in power. So, like I said, that's rumor based. I don't know, like what's right or what's factual and what's fiction. But like I said, if it's any truth to it, please let's do something about it. But like I said, though, I think in some ways it emotionally struck me because, like I said, when I see stuff like when I if there's this is going on, granted, might be this might be done like an after school special, but if
Hmm.
this was going on, that then I think the movie did its job right. So in that
Yeah.
sense, it could have
Well,
been done better as a filmmaker though. Per like
yeah.
told a much better, done a better story, like the way they did it. It could have been done better. I
I
do
would,
agree
I
with
would say pacing for me.
it's been done better as a movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
as a filmmaker, it has been done better because I've seen like movies who try to send a message and do it, in a much better manner.
Right.
But at the same time, though, like I said, though, I rarely few do you see movies like this, right? That talk about this type of subject matter
Right.
because it's kind of gross, it's very gross and disgusting. But you rarely see movies tackle this subject matter. So I'm glad it did, and I'm
Right.
glad. And it's weird to me that somehow this was not being more, like that. that this kind of like people were watching this movie because of word of mouth or whatever. Nobody was really there. Was not too many commercials, not too many, like it's
I mean,
weird.
you would see the poster like on online and social media or what as be like, I don't even know what that is,
Yeah,
and you would see the
exactly.
fact like you can get free screenings now for this movie that's in theaters. And you're like, I don't even know what this is about. I don't know.
So it's just weird to me that this didn't get promoted more by other people, by anybody actually. So it's very strange for me, but it's very successful, man. I look at Amazon Prime, and you like that's one of the first things you see,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
they're one of the first things you see. So good for
but,
good for that movie, man.
it,